It is Country Viewpoint here on Flow FM, and we have some wonderful land managers across our state here in South Australia, and it's time to give them a pat on the back. You can nominate your local Landcare hero for this year's 2021 South Australian Landcare Awards. And joining me on the line, someone who knows these awards very well, she's the chair of Landcare South Australia, Sheree Bowman. Welcome to Country Viewpoint.
Thank you. Lovely to chat to you today.
First of all, Sheree, let's talk about SA Landcare and the work that you guys do. Tell us about what Landcare's role is inside of land management.
The Landcare Association of South Australia is the peak body for community landcare in this state. We have interstate counterparts in all of the other state and territories across the country, and we're all members of the National Landcare Network. So what that means is that we advocate for community landcare groups, community volunteers at local, state and national levels. So what we do is try and communicate grant funding opportunities, really bring up the landcare industry, landcare movement in the state, and link groups and volunteers with their local organisations.
Now, landcare is such a diverse topic. We can talk about coastal areas and then we can talk about inland areas. It's such a wide, diverse range of activities that you're involved in. Do you have different divisions inside of landcare, or do you just work with the different coastal management groups that are in place and inland management groups that are in place?
All across, all of them, yes. Landcare from coast to outback, urban, peri-urban. There's a lot of groups in Metro Adelaide and other areas, right in towns and cities, yeah.
Now, as part of that, one of the other things that Landcare is involved with is natural disasters, and we've seen plenty of them, from bushfires to drought to flood. That's where Landcare really is so important, isn't it?
It is indeed, and certainly we've seen over the last few years, 2 to 3 years, Landcare communities across the country are really becoming quite prominent as first responders in natural disasters. We've seen that in the fires over in the Blue Mountains in New South Wales, also in the Cuddly Creek fires more recently, and Kangaroo Island, where Landcare groups, shortly following the natural disasters, Landcare organisations and groups and volunteers are already acting to mobilise to make plans for the recovery phase around helping out to replace fencing, planting projects and so on. So we're seeing a lot of that and more as time goes on.
When I think Landcare, you're thinking about a whole group of people whacking the caps on, slip, slop, slapping and going out and planting trees. But you guys do a lot more than that.
Oh, indeed. It's very diverse. I mean, at the heart of it, it's about people getting together in groups and doing good things for the environment. So it's anything from tree planting, which is very much commonplace, things like weed control, fencing, watercourse restoration. You're looking at dune care, very careful weeding in sand dunes, things like, habitat restoration for certain particular threatened species and so on. Yeah, very diverse.
Now, all of that feeds into the awards that we're about to talk about, so let's talk about those now. The 2021 SA Landcare Awards, you've got an opportunity to nominate now, but this is part of a national awards program, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So there is 8 national award categories that are now open for nominations, and so it's right across the country, but they are delivered on a state basis. So we're actually, Landcare South Australia is going to be running the South Australian Landcare Awards as part of that. The way that it links into the national system is that the winners from the state awards this year actually go in the running in the national awards categories next year.
Now, what are the benefits of winning one of these awards? Have you got an example of a previous winner that it's perhaps helped their work out into the future?
I think part of it is obviously that recognition in that, these hardworking volunteers, going, in some cases, very regular working bees and contributing so much to their local environment. So getting that recognition, but it's also about awareness raising of the presence of these groups and the activities of these groups. So that is a very important part of these awards.
Clearly, recognition's one thing, morale boosting inside an organisation as well. I noticed here the 2019 Landcare Award winner was from McLaren Vale, a biodiversity group there. And
Yes.
that group, obviously, it's a significant pat on the back for them, but more than that, the morale that it would raise within that group to go out and do things bigger and better next time around must be significant as well.
Oh, indeed. And the McLaren Vale Biodiversity Project has just been going from strength to strength. You know, they tied into local industry, the wine and grape industry in their area, and plenty winemakers, vineyards, etc., doing some really great work. And to see those guys recognised in the South Australian Awards, it was really great. And they're actually in the running and probably quite a contender for the national awards, which are going to be run in about a month. So very excited to see how they fare against our interstate counterparts.
Indeed, and to clarify that, of course, 2020 was a bit of a write-off due to a certain virus which was getting around. So
that's right. It's protracted the time frames for these things, unfortunately, but we move on.
Yeah. There are different categories, I believe, as well. Is there not?
There are. Yes, there is. So there's 8 different categories. So there is the Australian Government Individual Landcare Award, which is really the shining star out of the 8 categories. Around one individual land carer that is recognised as having a significant contribution to land care, and then anything from partnerships to land care, Australian Government Farming Award as well, Coast Care Award, Junior Land Care Community Group, Indigenous Land Management Award, and also the Young Land Care Leadership Award, which is very, very important also.
So if you are involved in managing land, doing some work for restoration or anything to do with coastal land care, inland land care, there is a category that you can nominate or be nominated in, basically.
Indeed. And we're really looking for, because some land care groups, or many, I will say, land care groups and organisations and volunteers, they just want to get out there and do the good work they're doing. So they don't necessarily nominate themselves for these awards. So it's really important that local councils, like local government, state government organisations, NGOs from around the state really sort of, think about who are these groups and organisations and individuals in their areas that they could consider nominating for an award.
Well, you're working beautifully today, because that was my next question. Who can do the nominating? But most importantly, I think, for those who are considering doing the nominating, whether it's a council or just a community member who loves the work that their local land care group is doing, where do they need to go to get some more information on how to nominate?
So the easiest way is just to Google 2021 Landcare Awards, and the first thing that comes up in your browser will be a link to the nominations page, which will provide you with all the information that you need.
There you go. Simple as that. Also, if you are listening to this on our podcast, in the descriptions part of this, you'll be able to see the link there. It's in fact, I've got the webpage sitting in front of me as we're chatting right now. Nominate a Landcare Champion for 2021, the State and Territory Landcare Award. And if you are listening interstate, we're talking specifically about South Australia today, but if you're listening in New South Wales or Victoria, other parts of our Flow network, you'll have equivalent awards there too, I would imagine, Sheree.
Indeed, that is correct. So that page will take you to all of the state and territory awards for all of the state and territories.
The 2021 State and Territory Landcare Award, in this case, the South Australian chapter. We're wishing everybody involved in Landcare SA all the best, yourself included. Sheree, thanks for spending some time with us here on Country Viewpoint today to tell us about your work and the awards.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.